As we say hello and welcome here to the virtual Watkins Glen International Raceway here for, what is it now, week 15 of the AWC Pro Series. Hello, my name is Christian Elgato alongside once again Matthew Perchatsky Diego Acuna back up here in the HVTV booth once again. Obviously missed him last week, but obviously Matthew's getting ready to get some other stuff under his belt. But obviously back to Matthew, right? Watkins Glen, kind of, I would say the most common road course we've come to here in season 20 on the road course, but obviously a very entertaining track here for week 15.
Yeah, and obviously with this race course, lot of excitement with the twists and turns. Very, very different than a lot of the popular street courses that we go to in the sim and also in real life in the NASCAR schedule. So to be able to come here to Watkins Glen, going to be a lot of fun. We got a lot of good road course racers here. Also some ringers that I think we're going to see in the field today. So always a treat to be able to be up here in the booth, and glad to be back up here. But yeah, anything, Andres, you're looking forward to today?
Well, fast road course racing pretty much is pretty, like Christian said last week on Milwaukee. It is pretty much the Daytona of road course. It's pretty fast. It's not very technical, so it's gonna be a lot of fast moving into some 90 degrees turns. Like turn 1, of course, you had the carousel, the bus stop. Then you have turn 6 and 7 coming into into the front straightaway. So yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. Of course, we're gonna have some of the guys that are not in the chase, of guys that are in the chase. But coming from week 14 of Milwaukee, of course, the biggest story is gonna be between Wyatt Roberts, Jake Scarborough, and of course Bryson Byrd. Bryson Byrd, who had a very terrible week last week on Milwaukee, pretty much made all the mistakes that he didn't need to do, and of course, finishing pretty much almost last. So it's gonna be very interesting coming into this week.
Yeah, talking about interesting, we have to take a look at the points that you were talking about here. Andres, you look at the points, that's for last week. We'll go ahead and grab this week's points. We did have a crash of the system right before we went live here, but we'll grab them right here and right now. There we go. We look at Bryson Byrd now, only a 10-point advantage back to Wyatt Roberts, and still Enrique Cucalone about 27 points back, still a little bit of work. But yeah, we have to talk about Bryson Byrd. Obviously, finished, I believe, third the last there, and it was due to a penalty that he got early in the race. And reading in on some of the chats here that I was informed, so he jumped out of line there before he was supposed to at the start of the race, and he was only supposed to get a drive-through for that race. He misinterpreted, did a stop and go, and and sat in the box for about 15 odd seconds, and that put him a lap down. That penalty that he was supposed to be given was only supposed to be a drive-through, which obviously everybody knows would not trap him a lap down, and that's really what altered his race there. And obviously, he was asking for points to get given back, but obviously that's you can't really do that, right? When there's a kind of a driver error or mishearing. So really is bad set of circumstances for Bryson there in the 53. He gives up a bunch of points from Milwaukee. You see Bryson Byrd up there with just under 1,100 points there. And then Wyatt Roberts back there in 10th. Enrique Cucalone back there in 3rd. Jake Scarborough P4, and rounding out the top 5. Still Brett Bennett there in that 06.
Yeah, and as we continue looking along the line here, we got Carlos Acosta in that 02 car. He's been obviously putting in a lot of work throughout the entirety of the AWC season. So one of those guys that's just been able to keep his head down. No win, still a goose egg on that win column. But another guy to talk about, Adam Towle, obviously been able to remain in contention along with Gilberto Gomera. A lot of speed from him, as well as Joe Farlow, who was able to pick up a win earlier in the season at Bristol, I believe it was, in that 24 car. Sam Boutwell in 10th place, Ryan Ronnebaum in 11th, and Brennan Reed in 12th. But yeah, Christian, talking about Bryson Byrd, obviously been the class of the field for pretty much the entirety of the races that I've been up here to commentate. But speaking of last week, at the Milwaukee Mile, that just some crazy circumstances, and that just goes to show that it's not over till it's over, right? And for all these guys that are trailing, especially someone like Wyatt Roberts, still hunting for that first win, as well as Enrique Cucalone, who was able to pull it off at Nashville Superspeedway earlier in the season. These guys are by no means out of contention here, and any more slip-ups by Bryson could definitely see them capitalize on that.
I definitely agree, and it just, like you said, it's not over till it's over. We saw Bryson Byrd dominate this series, and we thought that there was really anybody that was going to get close, right? But obviously we see now the points closing in, but Diego, right? You look at some of these drivers that, outside the top three, actually see Jake and Enrique tied. Do you see anybody further on back that might have a shot to potentially try to reel these guys back in here in these last 3 races?
Well, I will say this is one of the first wild cards on the chase. We already have Milwaukee, but now it's gonna be Watkins Glen, and I'm seeing right now on the practice charts, we are gonna see it afterwards in the qualifying. Right now, Jake Scarborough is one of the best guys on the chase, and we're gonna see Bryson Byrd is pretty much like almost ninth to 10th position, and then you have Wyatt, Adam Tell, all the rest of the chase guys. So of course, this is gonna be a very big race to go ahead and like get some points from Bryson, as well as like for a Wyatt Roberts, for a Jake Scarborough, for a Carlos Acosta, because the next one is gonna be Daytona, and Daytona is not is unforgiving. Daytona is gonna go ahead and get you a big one, and you're pretty much boom out of the chase. So for a lot of these guys, is this race and the next race is gonna pretty much uh, finish the final on Las Vegas. Whoever gets the most points between Watkins Glen and Daytona is gonna pretty much put the deal on who's gonna get the win and the championship on Las Vegas.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, Watkins Glen, we're going to have a couple of road course ringers. We already see some, up towards the top of the board too, some part-time drivers, some drivers who are coming in here and, doing these one-off races. But also, you can't count out someone like a Joel Farlow who's 40 back. Remember, 40 points seems like a lot, but, if you finish, 15 spots ahead of some of the guys up front, right? You finish 15 spots ahead at Daytona. You come in to Homestead only 10 points back, Matthew. You look at some of these guys who are better at the road courses, like a Jake Scarborough. Maybe like someone like a Bennett who tends to keep his car clean and keeps his car up towards the end, or Joel Farlow, who we've seen has shown consistent pace. I feel like you just can't count anybody out here, even though there's only 3 races left.
Yeah, and it'll always come down to where the others are relative to that top leader in the chase standings, right? And so, yeah, for someone like a Joel Farlow or maybe a Jake Scarborough, right, who we just talked about, if they can maximize that relative difference between them and the next highest runner in the chase, that could definitely be some easy points here at a road course where, especially at a place like Watkins Glen, we will likely see. Especially with the lack of stage cautions, we will see some more spread out racing if we have some long green flag runs, pit cycle strategies. So, I think today is really just going to come down to taking care of your car and being smart, right? And for a lot of these guys that they've been in the car for a while this season, they're more than capable of doing that. As we see the 10 car taking a little bit of a shortcut, got that lawn mowing service through the bus stop, but yeah, definitely going to be a bit of a treacherous track here at Watkins Glen.
We're gonna have a 1 lap qualify, so pretty much this is gonna be the 1-8 for these guys. And of course, what you need is pretty much having a qualify, because normally, sometimes some people will go ahead like have a little of a mistake coming of any of these races, any of these turns, and that's gonna be pretty vital, especially if you're not a good guy, like for example myself. You can go ahead and like take some opportunities from people that are like much better in road courses, and they make a mistake unless you're not doing it. And then of course, like passing on the race, you can let them go, let them have their own race. You have your own race. So for example, for guys that are like pretty much like the dark horses coming into this race, of course, Carlos Acosta, Brian Reed, or even Jake Ryan Ronnebaum, or even Jake Scarborough or Bryson Byrd, who we don't know how they were like. We know that how they were in Sebring. They will need to go ahead and like have those type of like having a good qualifying, of course, having a clean race, because these points are vital, and especially for a guy like Bryson or Wyatt Roberts. So if you're Carlos Acosta, if you're Joe Farlow, you want to go ahead and like have a clean race, get the most points you can, especially Joe Farlow, because Joe Farlow had the third position starting the chase, and pretty much he fell off right away because of the connection issues. And I'm pretty sure that happened both in Indianapolis and Milwaukee. So very bad chase coming from the number 24 team. But of course, like for Carlos Acosta, who he came from the last place on the chase. So of course, like different stories that happens on this chase, and nothing is over until it's over, and especially with these two racetracks that are like Watkins Glen and Daytona.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And, you know, obviously with only one lap, it makes these drivers kind of have to, you know, hit their marks here. You know, you might see drivers who don't push as hard here on this qualifying lap just because they need to get this lap in. Because, you know, in my opinion, I'd rather set a lap than, you know, push and try to get a pole and get a 1X or make a mistake here. And I have to start all the way in the back as someone who might have pace here. Obviously, I'm not a road course guy myself, like Diego had mentioned, but like let's say you are someone who is going to be in contention for the win tonight. You can't put yourself in the spot to, you know, make a mistake, put yourself in a bad spot here, making a mistake here in qualifying, and you know, put yourself behind early in the ball here. We see Adam Tal here, but Matthew, like obviously only one lap. I mean, it's pretty easy to make a mistake here at the Glen.
Well, yeah, and especially because as we see with the runoff here, we don't have the tire packs like we see in the real life NASCAR schedule where they went to Watkins Glen earlier in the season and they had those big tire packs off of turn 1 and also coming out of the carousel. So, you know, something to consider is that a lot of these guys are basically going to be going from that track surface onto the curb, off the racetrack, and then back onto the track surface. So definitely a little more squirrely and more to have to worry about, and a lot more speed that you're carrying because of being able to use that runoff area. So I'm thinking that for qualifying, these guys are definitely going to have to be very mindful of that, but it also makes it so that those guys that are, a little more, you know, happy-go-lucky with the track limits, you know, they're going to be taking full advantage of that, especially for these ringers and those guys that don't really have to worry about starting position so much. They're just out here to have a good time. You see right there, Carlos Acosta tracking it out all the way out there. We remember back to the Xfinity Series days when it was Michael McDowell in the 11 car and Austin Hill in the 21 car going off to that runoff there, and a pretty big crash happening through that little short straightaway after the carousel. So I think we're definitely going to be seeing a lot more speed carried throughout these corners, but particularly as we wrap up qualifying here, I'm thinking that the guys that take advantage of that runoff are going to be towards the top of the board.
That's because that pretty much was coming into the last section of the qualifying and pretty much lost it right there. So that's pretty much the mistake that you don't want to do.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not what you want to do. And obviously you saw he didn't even start a lap yet. That was his out lap that he made the mistake on, and unfortunately gonna have to start all the way back there in the tail of the line here. And this is what I was talking about earlier, right? For someone like Acosta who needs the points, right? He can't afford to start in the back with all these other guys, right? But unfortunately, that's what's going to have to happen here is we get ready to get our starting lineup here presented by HVTV, and some familiar faces up here towards the front that we saw last week from Milwaukee. We'll take a look at our starting lineup. Cole Wilson is in, and his teammate in the 25, Matthew C. Wyatt, top of the board there for both those drivers. They'll round out row 1. You see back there, P3, Joseph Smith makes his way back into the AWC Pro Series in that 31 machine. Ty McIntosh in his couple of part-time starts here. He's P4, good lap for that number 10 machine. Wyatt Roberts back there in P10. We'll see Luis Ramirez back there in the 98, good lap for him. Fidel Fabian, Jake Scarborough round out row 4. Rounding out the top 10, Adam Tal. And then in the 34, Bryson Byrd back there in the 10th position.
Yeah, looking at our 11 through 20th starting positions, we've got the 65 car of Noah Brown. Next to him, Joshua Nunez in the 40 car. Then we've got Vic Bloom in that 49 car in 13th starting position. Ryan Ronnebaum in the 7 car. He's going to be looking to move up in the field starting 14th. Tim Goulet Jr. in that 39, rounding out the top 15. Sam Boutwell in the 47 car. Jacob D. Davis in the 5. We got Preston Alexander in the 50 car today starting 18th. Joe Farlow loading in the 24 car in 19th starting position. And Brett Bennett in the 06 looking to move up, rounding out that top 20.
We're going to go to the back of the pack pretty much. Coming from the row 11, it's going to be Nolan Crane right next to Gilberto Javier Gomera. Shane O'Neill and Carlos Acosta is going to make the row 12 coming from the back. He's running up the number 57 of Brendan Reed. So, yeah, it's going to be a very long race for them. Of course, you don't need to make more mistakes more than what you did on qualify, so we'll see how these guys will do.
That's
Yeah,
gonna
and
be
I think particularly with the start of this race, I just wanted to mention that I think turn one and the entirety of the first lap, just getting sorted out through the S's and into the bus stop. These are going to be some hard braking zones, and I'm thinking that with the side by side going into turn one, definitely something to look out for is who's being the most cautious, who's really throwing it in there. Definitely going to be calamity corner turn one, in my opinion.
No, turn one's going to be something to look at because we have some guys who I feel like can be quick and can set down faster lap times who didn't set a lap or didn't maybe set a lap that they probably were happy with, right? And so now a lot of those drivers, they feel like they might have to make it up while everybody's stacked together. And we've seen this time and time again, not only here at Watkins Glen, but we've seen it, at some other tracks like the Indy Road course here when NASCAR used to come here before, where it's calamity corner. You look at Coda turn one as well, right? Where everybody's trying to make up time and make up spots as soon as they can, and you start to see some drivers start to get stacked up here. But and with 25 cars here showing up, it can definitely happen here in the turn one.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a very long race. Of course, 41 laps is short, but it's not. This is gonna be more than a 2 miles racetrack. So as far as I see, it's pretty much sunny. So we'll see how these guys are going to handle.
You see the track temp right here. Air temperature 72, 88 degree track temp, some humidity and some overcast tonight here from Watkins Glen here up in northern New Jersey. But we're going to get ready to go. 41 laps here from Watkins Glen here. You'll see the pace car. Hard left turn on the hard right turn on the pit road. Back to Barney. And we're going to get ready to go green here for Week 15 at AWC Pro Series.
Oh, we got a spinner.
Oh,
Is that Brett Bennett?
Brett Bennett. Yes, it is.
Brett Bennett in the back. Huge contact. And you already see him smoking. That's probably that's a meatball. That's probably race
terminal.
That's probably
terminal
race
damage.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, we see the two high chew cars going side by side through the S's and into the bus stop here. 25 car. Oh, he's gonna lose the rear, spinning in the bus stop. That's the 25 car. The second high chew machine will continue forward, and he'll be followed by the 31 car. So currently, Cole J. Wilson and Joseph Smith leading the field.
Yeah, Matthew White just kind of lost it there on entry. Overshot the braking point there. Locked up the rears, and now look at this 3 wide. Here comes Wyatt Roberts here on the bottom.
Roberts.
Wasted no time in that rush truck machine. Unbelievable stuff out of Wyatt Roberts in the 42 car.
You saw him back out of it there, trying to be cordial with everybody, but now you see 3 wide. Now he's getting taken 3 wide. That's Fabian. That's Ty McIntosh there. Across the stripe here to lead the first lap. Cole Wilson takes it here on lap 1.
These guys they don't know they're like lap 2. They're taking this race as is the final lap already, but wasting no time. Wyatt Roberts, he's a very good road racer, and he almost won the last week against Bryson, and now he's once again right there. So of course Wyatt Roberts wants to take all the opportunities he needs to get all those points from Bryson Byrd right now, side by side toward the bus stop with Ty McIntosh.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that those tires were cooked coming out of the carousel by that 27 car. I think the 31 got into his rear and just loosened him up a bit. So definitely got to think about these guys burning up their tires, racing so tight.
Yeah, just so many battles on track right now. We got a battle for the P5 position now as here comes Fidel. Trying to make the spot here, not going to make it happen. So a battle for the race lead up here. It's the 31 all over the back end of the 27. Cole Wilson with a handful, trying to keep this car out in the lead.
Wilson having the biggest of fire coming from the number 31 of Joseph Smith. Ty McIntosh took the 3rd position, and Wyatt Roberts is going to still have the fire from Fidel Fabian on the back. Here comes the number 31 for the lead coming into turn 1.
You saw the 27 with the huge mistake there. He's going to allow now Joseph Smith to get side by side through the S's. Backside of it smart for him to back out of it there. Going to get back to single file here through the S's.
Yeah, you don't want to be shoving your nose in going into the S's there. That's going to be catastrophic for both of those cars if they were to make contact. The 31 car, I think, is definitely the faster car towards the front. You see the 10 car of McIntosh back there, just holding his own, watching these guys in front of him. But
Oh,
yeah,
the
oh my
31
God,
off.
everyone's in the grass.
Yeah.
Oh
Both of them.
man,
Both of them
mistakes
leaders.
left and right.
Yeah, they were both in the grass, pretty much losing time to tie McIntosh right here. He's going to take out any opportunity from the mistake that both of these leaders did. Of course, he's going to try to get a good run from the carousel coming into 6, into the breaking point. It's going to be much better right here. But I think Joseph Smith, after that little mistake, is going to handle it over.
And you look at all the marbles here from just people making mistakes there. That's going to affect the way these car drives. Now here comes the 10 with the run. 31 loose off of the last corner. Side by side here down into turn 1.
Yeah, they've been side by side for pretty much every lap we've come down the front straightaway there. You see McIntosh is going to try to arc it with that outside line. He's going to turn underneath them. They're going to be side by side going into the S's. Someone's going to have to give here, man.
31's going to give the spot up. And that's going to allow Wyatt Roberts here in a 42 to jump in here in a little 3-car blanket here for P3 on back.
Wyatt Roberts right here, if he's faster than Joseph Smith, he needs to take it, because if not, if he's going to try to rake his race, he's not going to go ahead and like only try to keep up with the 31, but also maybe he's going to burn his tires, and that's going to give the opportunity to number 51 of Fideo Fabian.
Yeah, he's got to make sure. Right now, he's in a good spot compared to Bryson, right? Bryson's sitting back there in P9. And he's got a couple points on him right now, right? Obviously, he's sitting back up here in P4. That's a 5-point swing, right? That cuts the points gap in half here. So if I'm Wyatt, right, you just be content right now. If you can make the spots up here, if you can put yourself in an opportunity, potentially go make up those spots, do it. But right now, save your tires, save the car right now. Long race here with 41 laps.
Yeah, especially considering that those guys in front of him have either been off the track or, laid down a little bit of rubber. Yeah, I'm thinking he can only go up from here. So I totally agree with you, Christian, just on the note of saving here, right? But as we take a look at your leader, after that little off-course excursion on the bus stop, he is pulling away by a few seconds right now for the time being. But AC dropping the tires off again. So I'm just wondering, pushing the issue a little bit early, maybe just losing the rear on braking. I'm not quite sure. You can see already he's just pretty much killing those curbs. But as we look at this carousel section here, you guys have been in the sim before. You guys have raced this track, whether it's with this car or not. How easy is it to slide those rears coming through the carousel, and how do you try to avoid that when you're in the car?
Pretty easy, especially if you pretty much you lose the braking point. If you come in a little bit late, you're gonna pretty much blow that bus stop. So coming over here with the turn 6, coming into turn 7, the number 31 and the 10 getting fired from Wyatt Roberts. Meanwhile, yeah, it's gonna be a big mistake that if you miss the corner, if you don't miss the corner in the entry, you're gonna miss it in the exit. That's what happened in the laps earlier between Joseph Smith and Cole Wilson. Cole Wilson right now, I think he's just trying to go ahead and have fun. So that's why he doesn't care if he's trying to go ahead and like burn his tires, because of course it's not, he's not racing for anything. He has nothing to lose. So a driver that has nothing to lose is a very dangerous driver. Meanwhile, here comes Joseph Smith into the braking point onto the bus stop outside of Blake McIntosh. Here they come into the bus stop, coming out. Very clean so far.
And going back to your question, Matthew, it is pretty easy to slip the tires here, especially in these O'Reilly machines going through the carousel. That's why you see a lot of these drivers go down and wrap that bottom side there, that multicolored, it's kind of, you want to call it a grip strip there, because you just kind of want to put those right side tires down there and just kind of just roll it around. I mean, you can definitely go up there and try to search around, but that's when you make a mistake there. And there goes the 10 off the bumper, the 31.
Into the wall.
Yikes. 31 losing a lot of speed too there. Wow, he's going to drop way back. McIntosh definitely got the short end of the stick there, though, from that exchange. That was just,
look back and see
I think, an uncalled for move, jumping to the inside there. Reminded me of Zolich and SVG a year back at Watkins Glen in the Xfinity Series. So,
I'll go on.
Yeah, just very.
Just gets the bumper put to him by the 30. I don't think it was he meant to do that.
No, it wasn't intentional.
But
no.
I think the 10 just kind of backed it up a little bit more than the 31 expected, and off the nose he'll go. And you see now up in the outside wall, you see the 31. I don't know if maybe he was just trying to give up some spots there. Maybe he felt bad, but still, regardless, that's not what you wanted to see out of 31 or that number 10, as they were really competitive, up there in that top 2, top 3.
Yeah, and for that 31 car, obviously, Andres mentioned that not racing for anything other than the win here or just a good finish, but I mean, very, very dangerous. You just got to hope that doesn't happen to one of our chase drivers, right? Because that would have been really catastrophic and pretty much race ending for any of these guys looking in front of the 77 car, for example. Yeah, just a pretty crazy circumstance to be in if you're that 10 car, though.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that was a little bit of a miscalculation coming from Joseph Smith, because I'm pretty sure what he wanted to use the braking point, trying to get his car on below the number 10 of McIntosh, and I'm pretty sure that was a miscalculation coming from him, and pretty much put McIntosh in a bad spot, as well as him, of course. And I'm pretty sure after he sent McIntosh into the wall, he let go some position, trying to go here like, amends for the damage, but the damage was already done.
Yeah, definitely, the 10 got the worst out of that, but I guess the person who liked to see that was the 42 of Roberts. We've been looking at him these last couple laps. I mean, he was right behind that battle for P2, and then with them, taking each other out, that's allowed him to take the P2 position, but Matthew Wyatt showing some good speed here, starting to reel in this number 42 machine. Obviously, he was your pole sitter for tonight's race, made that mistake on lap 1, almost 5 seconds behind the race leader, but starting to reel in that P2 driver of Wyatt Roberts.
Yeah, and another guy that I'm looking at is Carlos Acosta in 15th, up 9 spots from starting position. Obviously, we saw him in the qualifying spin and get some pretty serious contact on that outlap, so not able to get a time down starting towards the back of the field, but up 9 spots right now. If he keeps this up after pit cycles, we might see him crack that top 10, so a really good recovery here for Carlos. But yeah, talking about Wyatt Roberts again, I mean, it was just like I was saying, right? And like you were saying, Christian, just being able to be content with where you're at, save your stuff and let the people in front of you, chimp around a little bit, for lack of a better term. And so we saw exactly that. But more impressively, I think, is that other high chew car of Matthew C. White taking a spin in the bus stop after that first or second lap, I believe it was, in that exchange that he had with the current leader of Cole J. Wilson in that identical high chew car. So yeah, pretty good pace out of him. But you also got to think, man, those tires definitely took a beating in that little bit of a slide, and then working your way back up through the field, putting more rubber down, just going forward basically. But right now on pace for sure.
Yeah, I would say right now he's pretty sure he's a little bit more faster than Wyatt Roberts right now. He's, of course, as his teammate Cole Wilson, they're like once again being the class of the field with us last week with the number 2. But right now, McIntosh, White, and Wilson are now the class of the field. Of course, Wyatt Roberts taking the head to the chase driver. Meanwhile, the number 4 in the number 4 position is going to be Jake Scarborough. So Scarborough taking a position from Fabian. Meanwhile, Bryson Byrd is in position 8. So our chase drivers are not having a bad day. Of course, the first 3 drivers. Of course, we had Brett Bennett having in the start of the race the thing that you don't want to see, which is a meatball. So, of course, that's going to be a bad day for the number 06. Meanwhile, Matthew White coming on the carousel in the inside. It's going to be clear right here from the number 42.
And now that 27 to 25, we saw them borderline dominate the last week from Milwaukee. Has come on strong here these last few weeks of the chase. Now, once again, the 27 to 25 will lead the field here from Watkins Glen. And then obviously Wyatt Roberts back there in P4. And we talked about it here, Jake Scarborough, good race here. He's been a very good road racer here. Obviously came from the console side of things, came to iRacing, and I felt like, honestly, his strongest suit has been these road courses throughout season 20.
Yeah, and let's also not forget about 7th place car of Bryson Byrd, right? He's definitely doing his due diligence and, staying up in the front of the field, not letting that gap between him and the other chase drivers around him get too big. And so a pretty good running right now for him. You see in that gray and black car there. But Yeah, right now, a lot of these chase guys, I think, are in a really good spot, but a bit too early to tell where these guys are going to fall as the green flag run progresses, I think.
That's going to be interesting to see, how people go, because we've only ran 11 laps, right? I'm going to take a guess to say you can probably go about 15 to 18 laps here on fuel, so I could see maybe some people trying to stretch it to 20, trying to do that halfway pit. But Bryson, he didn't qualify the best. He's up 3 spots. And you look at someone like Jake Scarborough, who's up 4 spots, right? You're starting to see some of these guys who have a little bit better race pace than they do maybe one lap pace who start to drive up through the field.
Yeah, and I will say right now the tires are going to show up. Wyatt is, I'm pretty sure, much faster than Wilson at this moment, as well as Wyatt Roberts. So Wilson is pretty much burning his tires as we speak. But as we know, Wilson is nothing to lose, so he doesn't care, of course. Meanwhile, Scarborough, Fabian, right here on the P4, P5, they're very much saving their tires, trying to stretch. It's gonna be possibly the only one stop that we're gonna have in this race. And then of course we have Bryson Byrd, and then Adam Tal in number 10. So of course Adam Tal having another good points day on the number 24. Right behind him is gonna be the number 23 of Gomera. Of course it's gonna be like more than 10 seconds behind. So right now we see Bennett Farlow as well having, I'm pretty sure he had once again connection issues. The number 7 of Ryan Roddenbaum, pretty much 8 laps down. So yeah, 3 chasers out of the race already. So pretty sure for Farlow and Bennett, hopefully not for Bennett, but for Farlow is gonna be game over, at least for this chase, unless he gets a Hail Mary on Daytona.
Yeah, for Bennett, Farlow, Roddenbaum, honestly, I think that's just kind of race over. I mean, season over. I mean, you look at Joel, he didn't even set a lap. I think this might have been a starting part to at least get some points, right? I just don't think, I don't know. Once again, you have to think about the connection issues. Maybe he DC'd on the pace laps or something to that point or something, right? To see what could have happened with that. But it sucks to see Joel, not get the finishes he wants. We know he's really good on the road courses and not going to get the finish I think he wants tonight. Obviously, not even going to set a lap here tonight from McGlen.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate circumstances for a few of these guys that are already out of the race, further back outside of the top 20. But yeah, right now, as I'm looking through our ticker here, definitely a lot of our chasers just doing a really good job, like I mentioned, staying in contention. But right now, Matthew White is just absolutely chopping into that lead right now, within half a second now. There's got to be, there's a lot of pace lost there from the 27 car. As we see them side by side now going into turn 1, so Matthew White definitely having that longevity so far in this first longer green flag run right now as we go through the S's right now in lap 14. But yeah, I'm wondering if you can get by him here.
I think Wilson waited for White. And now they're side by side. They're pretty much fighting each other. That's what happened last week as well. I think these guys just want to have fun. I think that's what Matthew White and Cole Wilson wanted to say on the interview. So yeah, once again, like trying to put it a show for us.
It's going to be interesting to see, if that's the case. Because, for fun, you're racing with your friends and stuff. And you say, hey, like, slow up. Let me get back up to you, right? And that looked like, I agree with it, Andres here. That looks like, the 27 just kind of deliberately kind of just slowed down, let the 25 catch back up. And now they're battling it out here for the race lead. And they have a decent enough gap that they can afford to do this and just kind of have fun and race it out before the 42 of, Roberts gets back to them, but you still see them going to go side by side through turn 1, the 25 on the top, the 27 now on the bottom.
Yeah, I'm thinking, these guys got to be careful that you see a little bit of contact there because, if both of them go through the grass and do a little bit of lawn mowing like they did earlier in the race, that could definitely let Wyatt Roberts sneak through here. So for the time being, these guys are just having a good time up in the front of the field in those 2 identical high chew cars. But yeah, definitely the class of the field for the time being, as we see behind Roberts, for a pretty sizable gap back to 4th place to Scarborough. But yeah, I'm thinking that right now it's a very entertaining at least to see these guys go at it.
Very much a deja vu coming from last week. Of course, Cole Wilson and Matthew White side by side for the lead, and pretty much behind them was Roberts as well in Milwaukee. So once again, having a deja vu from Milwaukee. Oh. Let's see if Roberts is gonna try to take some position right here. Here comes Wilson on the turn 6. Here comes the crossover move from the number 25 of Matthew White. It's gonna give some time for the 42 to get over. Trading paints coming from the boats 25 and 27 into turn 1, side by side. Oh, Wilson outside the wall, almost in the wall.
You saw some contact from the 27 there and the 25, and kind of just got that 27 machine all out of whack there. But a great defense by Cole Wilson. Finally, Matthew C. White gets around. I think these guys got to go, right? Because that allowed that 42 to make up some time now. He's underneath the second here. Still gonna see the Newmaning from these two drivers, these two teammates at effect here. So now you see a crossover. Wilson underneath now.
Wow, yeah, and that 27 car, he was slipping the rear the entire previous lap up to now. And yeah, he was able to stick out on his quarter panel. He's gonna do it again. This looks just like 2014 AJ Allmendinger and Marcus Ambrose racing it out here with AJ trying to side draft down a little straightaway here. But yeah, I mean, these guys are definitely letting Wyatt Roberts catch up. But yeah, I mean, the losing the rear on the braking, these guys are just absolutely pushing it right now. So, oh man.
And Wyatt Roberts needs to be the most intelligent right here, because right now he can go ahead and take the lead from the 27 and 25, having their fun right here.
Yeah, he's got to lock in here and see what he can do here. You see everybody slipping and sliding around. 42 can't make a move here into the S. He's going to have to sit in line. But the longer they wait, the longer that Bryson the longer that Wyatt waits, he's going to allow that 77. He's starting to close in on this battle.
Guys, I think those tires are absolutely fried right now. Like, these guys have been absolutely sliding at every single braking zone, pretty much every single corner. You see the 25 car, the back end step out. Man, they are absolutely destroying these curbs here.
He messed that bus stop big time. He's got to get a little bit of a time penalty right here. Of course, it's going to be just letting go the gas. But that lets, like, here comes Wyatt Roberts into the inside. Oh.
I mean,
here comes again.
This is some amazing racing out of these top three. And Wyatt just cannot get around these two teammates right now as they're racing their hearts out here on lap 17, putting on a good show. Here comes the 77 as Scarborough into the picture.
Yeah, 42 got a good line there. He's going to have a good run off the corner here if he can stay on the outside. But yeah, you see Scarborough working his way up to the front here. But man, if I'm Wyatt Roberts, like I'm starting to get a little irked right now, right? Like these guys are having their fun in front of me, but they are basically moving roadblocks, and I can't get my corner exit that I want to with these guys, you know, basically impeding my progress. You see the 27 there, squirrely again, just sawing on that steering wheel, trying to keep it straight off the power down section to turn 1. But yeah, that deficit just going crazy. But yeah, I'm thinking we gotta stay on board with Wyatt Roberts. He has a front row seat to this show up front.
Of course, right now he's gonna have the fire from the 77 of the behind, but into the bus stop on the braking point. The 27 and the 25 side by pretty much almost identical right here. Coming to the carousel. Matthew White is gonna have a much better run in. Here comes the
77 side by side with the 42.
Yeah, I was gonna say the 42 did not have a good carousel there. Getting into the corner was just very, very lax. I think he just did not get to that bottom, like you were mentioning, Christian. A lot of these guys just trying to wrap it, trying to keep corner speed, but we also see some lap traffic up ahead, so you know some possible implications with trying to get around the lappers. As you see, actually, that'll be pulling down the pit road there, so it will not be a factor for the time being. But yeah, these guys are still dicing it up right now.
Oh man!
Oh my!
That lap car did a very good job.
That's gonna be it. I think Roberts is gonna get a run here.
Yeah, this is gonna be the best opportunity for Roberts. Never mind. Here.
No, they're gonna be side by side.
Oh, he got loose. The 25 is loose, and now 77 is in the picture. Oh, man. Where do you go if you're the 42 or the 77, man? These guys are literally blocking 2 lanes right in front of you.
Well, that's the thing is, they're doing like, that they're doing this to keep each other ahead. Because if you block the whole track, there's nowhere else to go, right? So, I mean, it's fun because it's fun to see this. Because with the 77, the 42 can't pass. Here comes the 51. Here comes the 53 of Bryson Byrd as they make their way into the picture now.
Wow, Fidel Fabian, yeah, he's thinking, yeah, let me get a piece of this action here. We see him dicing up even more. 77 is on the outside. 25's got to keep it tight, though, not push him off the track too much.
Yeah, Jay could add enough. He's going to probably get around the 27 here if he can hold on.
Oh, wow.
Now 3 wide.
Close quarters.
Wyatt Roberts is going to pit. He says, I've had enough of this. I'm going to get some new tires and try to jump y'all on a short stop. So, wow, yeah, definitely a strategy call here as we see further back another pitting driver.
Wide. You see the 27 using up the 25.
Oh, man.
Jake Scarborough is just going to take the point. Yeah. He said, you guys are going to fight with each other. I'm going to try to take the race lead, but here comes the 27 trying to get to the outside. Back clear here out of the S's.
Oh, he's fast. He is so fast. That 3 wide TB77's got to make it wide here.
Jake Scarborough took the press opportunity coming from the turn 1, but here comes the 27 of Wilson. He's much faster right here. Of course, it's even with the short tires, it's going to be much faster than the 77 of Jake Scarborough. So, yeah, well, they showed that. Of course, they did all that.
You saw
it there. Missing it.
Yep, you saw it there. The gloves were just fighting that wheel so much on the corner exit. It's just like we talked about, guys. Getting loose and losing the rear in the carousel on power down. It happened just like we talked about it. So, man, just an unbelievable set of circumstances in the first half of this race.
Now for Wilson, he needs to go to pits. And here comes everybody, pretty much.
Everyone.
Yeah, everybody coming down pit roads. Jake stays out for another lap. I think that's the 98 who we just saw pass here. That's Ramirez who decides to stay out as well. But you'll see everybody down pit road here on lap 21. This splits it basically right in half, right? And now the question is, we saw the 42 short pit. Can he make up time here on those fresher tires?
So far, where will be hit?
And there is the 42.
Right, here it comes. Here it comes.
Oh, he's going to get by all of these guys by a long shot.
So now for Wyatt Roberts, he needs to save those tires for sure because Wilson and Wyatt, they're much faster than Wyatt.
The issue is he's right there. Well, I mean, that's 25.
He's close. Yeah.
Wyatt is right there. He's going to have these cold tires. He's going to have to get them back up to temp. And something I'm going to commend iRacing for is the cold tires are cold now in every car. And you have to get these things up to temp before you can push, right? So obviously, and honestly, if you're as good as this number 25, I don't even think the cold tires matter. But he's gonna have to get these things up to 10 before he can even go try to run down that 42. But I mean, Wyatt can try to run, he can try to save, but right now he's gonna have a mirror of that 25 within the next lap or two. I'm gonna presume.
Yeah, and between the 25 and the 27, we saw the 27 take a spin there coming out of the carousel, but that 25 car was definitely hounding all these guys after spinning really early on in the race and making up all those positions. So on the fresh tires and, not fooling around with his teammate, I think he's definitely going to have the upper hand here on Wyatt Roberts, but definitely going to be a battle to keep an eye out for as we see the 77 3 wide TV Ford Mustang coming off the pit lane here. He's going to have to work his way back up through the field. It'll be interesting to see where he blends with everyone else, too.
I think he should blend out here around the third place spot. You'll see the 51 of Fidel right there. Obviously, Adam Towle, Vic Bloom, they still need to come down pit road here. They have not made their green flag pit stop, so that'll cycle back around to Wyatt Roberts, Matthew White, Jake Scarborough with the fresher tires.
Jake Scarborough, of course, is going to have more advantage right here because he's going to have two laps fresher tires. And, of course, for a Watkins Glen, it's going to be a bigger advantage. But, of course, as far as he's able to go ahead and keep the position from Fidel Fabian right here.
And Fidel has, those warmer tires that we talked about here earlier while we talked about the pit cycle, right? 77 has to get these things up to temp here before he can start to push hard. He's going to have to just try to hold on to this third place position while, the 51 and the 53 now trying to knock the doors down here on the 77.
Yeah, that 77 car definitely, I think, was faster, obviously faster than the two leaders, as we saw him get by them before everyone started shooting down pit lane, but not able to make up that much time on the outlap, that's for sure.
Fidel has a penalty. He must have sped or did something, because see him coming down, taking at least a drive-through here. Maybe well, if it's a drive-through, it'll probably be, yeah. That tells me it's probably entering in too many boxes. We saw this earlier this season at Chicago Street, where people are having issues with that. That's going to lose a lot of track time here. Back to P9, still in the top 10, but I mean he's almost 45 seconds off the pace here.
Go back. That's a big blow, and that's only going to help Bryson Byrd in that, point standings. So right now, Bryson Byrd, one of those guys we have not really talked about too much today, but kept a really clean race car. Was obviously able to work his way up towards the front of the field when everyone was starting to fight in that top 3, top 4. So right now, Bryson Byrd in a really good spot as we continue through the second half of this event.
Yeah, and he is pretty much like having a clean race without any mistake. And of course, coming from Milwaukee, it's much better race, a much better points day for him. So of course, it's not going to have a big of a fall off in points, especially with Wyatt Roberts being on the lead right now. So for Bryson, of course, Wyatt Roberts can go ahead and like maybe win this race, unless Matthew Weiss decides so. But for Bryson Byrd right now, of course, being there P4 is gonna be a good points day for him, and that's gonna be a good cushion for the battle for the championship.
And he's got the back end of the 77. Obviously, it's one thing to get to him, another to pass, but Bryson showing some speed here, trying to drive his way back up into a podium spot. And like we said before, this is the chase standings, right? So right now, Wyatt Roberts actually battle for the lead.
Now.
Yeah, with the 25. Every point's going to matter here, because with this chase standings, right, with the way the chase works, the winner gets significantly more points than P2 on back, right? So Wyatt's got to try to hold on here. Obviously, it's got to be frustrating as a chase driver to have someone as quick as the 25 try to get up here and race you, but at the end of the day, he has every right to race for a win. You look at maybe like a Busher at Watkins Glen a couple seasons ago. He was outside the chase and won that race, right? Obviously, that was a playoff format, not the chase format, but it's got to be pretty frustrating if you're the 42, knowing that if the 25 and the 27 did not roll off the trailer tonight, you'd probably be winning this race.
Yeah, I mean, and we mentioned it in the pre-race, right? Wyatt Roberts still looking for that first win this season, and obviously had so much speed. As we see again here today, a lot of speed at this road course. He did so well at Sebring as well earlier in the season too. So, we know that he has the speed. We know he has the talent, and he's been so close so many times. We've interviewed him too many times in that second place finishing position. So we'll have to see if Wyatt Roberts is able to reel one in here today, or if he's gonna have to settle for a podium spot. But nonetheless, a really good showing so far, and it's definitely nowhere near over yet, as we know White is going to have to do his best to keep that top position. And I mean, right now, too early to tell for sure.
We come to the lap 26, pretty much over the half of the race. So right now, Wyatt Roberts, what best he can do is hope that the 25, also, as well as he did on the start of the race, burning his tires, trying to get away from him, and he needs to just save those tires, try to save, because the moment that he was able to get nearby Cole Wilson and White, he burned his tires trying to get past through those teammates, and of course that gave the opportunity to Jake Scarborough, who saved his tires much better and be able to pass them. And yeah, pretty much in that cycle was the car to beat in that moment. So for Wyatt Roberts, of course, that was the intention to go ahead and do a short pit and be able to go ahead and maybe get a possibility to pass White right here.
That's gonna be interesting. It's something I want to bring. I want to bring up here is the 77, and something we haven't talked about all race, and I'm surprised we haven't really thought to bring it up. The 22 is not here. He did not show up to Watkins Glen, and he was tied with the 77 in points coming back here. 27 points back here. Enrique Cuculo nowhere to be found here tonight here from the Glen here. So this will automatically give the 77 up to P3, and obviously sitting right in front of your points leader there, and Bryson Byrd. Potentially a really good swing here for the 77 machine.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I mean, it didn't even cross my mind, but yeah, where is Enrique Cuculone? I mean, that's a great question, but nonetheless, not showing up here today will definitely help the 77 car, as well as anyone who's within striking distance of that 22 machine. But right now, you know, another guy that I want to talk about who we mentioned earlier is Carlos Acosta, almost cracking that top 10 after starting way outside of the top 20. And you see a really wide line there coming into that last corner as he's right in front of that 50 machine. Last car on the lead lap right now, that's Carlos Acosta. So looking to march forward just a little bit more to crack that top 10 would be a really good day for him if he's able to do that. And, you know, maybe indicative of you know, going a little further into the top 10 as well, not just being on the outside. So, yeah, right now as we have about 13 laps left to go, these are going to click by pretty quickly. We've been running green for quite a while here. These guys have found a pretty good pace, especially towards the front of the field. And so, yeah, it's definitely go time for some of these guys, I think.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure coming to the 14 to 13 laps to go, this is the moment that you really want to go ahead, like be there to get all the positions that you can, get all the points that you can, because especially if White is gonna start like running away, unless these lap cars give him some hard time, for Wyatt Roberts, for Jake Scarborough, who wants to be there to beat Bryson Byrd, especially with Daytona coming in. These guys are gonna try to do their hardest, but try to push that car, that boundary, to get to the first place. Is gonna pretty much get some mistakes in the process. So they're gonna be careful coming to the 30 laps to go.
Yeah, 13 to go. You saw the 25 navigate around the 50 machine of Preston Alexander. Next victim is going to be that 0-2 of Acosta we just looked at right up the road. Good run for him, but unfortunately not the pace that we wanted to see. There is actually White blinked out there.
No.
I think he's just blinking here.
Okay.
Oh. We'll go on with Wyatt Roberts as he navigates around the lap car, but something to look at here is maybe some potential internet issues from Matthew C. Wyatt as he tries to get around the 0-2. Continue to look at your P2 driver. Actually go back and look for the battle for P3s. That's starting to heat up. Joseph Smith is caught back up to this battle.
Wow.
Joseph Smith that pretty much got into the situation with the McIntosh right there.
Contact from the lap car.
Car in the process.
Not gonna like that. Yeah, I mean, what can you do though? I mean, you know that car's inside of you. Taking it off the track there, a little bit of lawn mowing.
Well, those two cars are kind of sister cars. These are sister cars, the 50 and the 53, though, both for Feared Motorsports. I'm surprised that when you see the similar front ends there, that's allowed to happen there. I mean, this guy's your points leader, and I mean, you're using him up there. I don't know, maybe there was something off the tractor that might have initiated that contact, but Preston not giving the benefit of the doubt to the 53, but the 31 back on board, running these two back down.
Going into the yeses, Joseph Smith has a clear sight of Bryson Byrd right here. I think he's much better than Bryson at this point. I don't know if he pitted in the same lap as Jake Scarborough.
He put it on the same lap as Bryson. So he's got one lap older tires than that 77. Oh, you see, he got the curb there. Really upset his entry there.
That little upset is gonna take your tires a lot, so you don't want that.
Yeah, that's a good point, Andres. You know, we mentioned it already a few times by now, but just to reiterate, right, that carousel is just so egregious trying to get that power down, and it's all about getting to the bottom without, you know, completely screwing yourself over with regard to spinning the tires, losing the rear, and then also hitting it, right? You don't want to get too low either. So, yeah, definitely some good insight from some guys that have been behind the wheel, obviously, for you two. But as we come to 10 to go pretty soon here, you know, Wyatt Roberts just, you know, not much he can do right now other than, you know, hope for a mistake maybe. You know, maybe have some lap cars give the 25 machine who's leading the race a bit of a tough time. But yeah, just a bit of a what can you do moment, right? Because, you know, he's done everything he could. You know, he bested the top guys with the pit strategy, came out in front, and, you know, I mean, I got a feel for him personally, but I would also just be curious to see where everybody falls relative to one another with the point standings once we finish up here.
It's going to be interesting how this shakes up because obviously Matthew, he's kind of a mulligan here, up here leading the race. You think you say the same thing with the 31 of Joseph Smith, right? I mean, they're just basically taking points away from playoff guys. So it goes back to Wyatt Roberts and Jake Scarborough. And then obviously Bryson Byrd, what a recovery by the 53. Get up here inside the top 4. Still trying to put the pressure on the 77, but remember, he started all the way outside of, you know, almost outside the top 10 as he started P10 here tonight here from the Glen. Kept that car clean, put himself in a spot here to race for a top 5.
Now he's gonna be much more intelligent, much more smart coming to the 77 if he's able to get side by side with the 77, because one little mistake is gonna throw all that good day into the trash. So for Bryson, what he needs to do right here is just to pretty much capitalize and finish off, bring it home. And if he's able to pass Jake, it will be a great point today. If he's not able to pass Jake, it's still a great point today. If he gets by the number 31 of Joseph Smith, it's still a great point today. As far as he doesn't go here like a spin out or goes outside of the track and gets a meatball, it's gonna be enough for him to pretty much having a good day turned wrong.
No, I definitely agree. And you know, I mean, we've only got a couple races left. After we come out of the Glen here, we go to Daytona, we go to Homestead, the end of the season. This 53 does have a target on his back, right? With how little of a lead he has now after Milwaukee. He has to be patient. He has to probably be the most patient car in the field because he can't afford the hemorrhage points, right? He can't afford to put himself in a bad spot. He can't afford to have other drivers put him in a bad spot, right? Here, going into these last couple races, he needs to keep every point he can. And like you said, Diego, you know, if he loses a spot to the 31, that's fine. You can't afford to fight and put yourself in a bad spot to, you know, lose, you know, not only one spot, but 5, 6, 7, 8 spots here going around off the bumper of someone.
Yeah, that's a really good point actually, because you just want to do damage control. You know, if you're running in that spot right now, and you don't want to, like you said, Christian, you don't want to hemorrhage any more positions, and so you know, just try and do the best with what you have, and so you definitely don't want to make a mistake. I mean, if you're the 77 car, you know, a mistake isn't just going to be Bryson Byrd getting by you. It's probably going to be Bryson Byrd and that 31 car of Smith as well. So definitely something to consider there. And also for Bryson Byrd, right? Like you might make a mistake and then you might not be able to get back to the 77 because you get passed by Smith in that 31. So there's just so much going on. And I mean, for you guys, you know, as drivers, right? I'll start with you, Christian. You know, what kinds of things do you do in the sim to try and, you know, just keep your head down, focus forward, not look in the mirror too much if you're leading some cars, or you know, if you're kind of in the middle like a Bryson Byrd here, you know, not trying to look in the mirror or look out the front too much, one or the other. You know, what's going through your mind in this kind of a situation?
Well, if I'm leading this pack, I'm not looking in the mirror, right? Unless you see like a huge dive bomb or something that you have to. You just got to hit your marks, because look at in the mirror, that's when you make the mistakes. But for Bryson, right, he kind of does have that rabbit to chase, right? And as long as he can keep him in striking distances, a little bit of a slide out of the 77 right there through the carousel. Going to be able to actually, you know, take the slide and kind of use it as some momentum to get a little bit out ahead. But if you're the 53, if you're this 31, you kind of do have that rabbit to chase out in front, right? Obviously, if you're the 53, you can't afford to make a mistake. But also, I feel like for me, it's easier to like hit my marks when you have kind of a reference point of what to hit in front of you. So, kind of unique situations. But like right now, if I'm the 77, I'm not even looking behind. I'm just trying to focus on hitting my marks here as we get to 6 to go.
If I'm the 53, the point is to just finish the race, and the most that you can do is to let if that 31 gets nearby you, as we saw coming into 7, Joseph Smith looks a little bit much faster than Bryson Byrd in some parts, and Bryson Byrd looks much faster than Jake Scarborough. But Bryson, what he needs to do right here is, like I said, to capitalize the race and bring it home, because right here comes for the bus stop. It needs to be a smart right here, both of them.
He's there. Yeah, Jake Scarborough is gonna try to get back a position in the grass.
Oh, it's Jake
oh
in the
no, he's
ground.
gonna spin.
Oh, wow,
Oh, he
what a
saved
save.
it. Then man, yeah, that was just what I was talking about. You know, that's gonna cost him obviously the position of Smith behind him, but now just a chance of even getting back to Bryson Byrd. But I mean, yeah, for Byrd, a 3rd place, man, that is awesome considering how he was doing going into this event. And we see some sliding there in front. I'm not sure who that could have been.
A lot of damage.
Not a good day for him, obviously.
Rough night from Milwaukee last week. Comes to it, Watkins Glen, not much better, unfortunately. Now, if you're Byrd, can you hold back this 31, right? He seems to have a little bit more pace. Can you keep him behind you?
Coming to the S's, I think Bryson has a much better S's right here. He was able to pass the 77 right here. Oh, almost in the wall. He was in the wall.
Yeah, I think he got the wall a little bit there.
That was close for sure.
But the 31's not giving it up here, so he's going to continue the fight. You see Tim Galea up in the 4 shot there. More lap traffic. Going to probably impair some of these drivers here. See what Tim does where he runs.
I think Tim is going to give the top.
He's going to give them the bottom here in the penultimate corner. Get out of the way. Really good race set out of Tim there to just get out of the way. Not in any fight really on his own there. I mean, he's on his own lap there, 3 laps down. I'm trying to give headway here as we head to 5 to go. Matthew C. White, though, back up front. 5-second gap, 4.5-second gap, right? Just continuing to pull away for the rest of the field.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing considering, 25 car was, pretty much spun out at one point, right? And, him and his teammate, they both had some pretty chaotic days, throughout the race, right? Just the tale of 2 different stories, really. Obviously, the 27 car buried further back in the field at this point. I'm actually not even quite sure where he's running, but yeah, this 25 car, 5 seconds up now as he goes through the carousel. But by far the class of the field with him and his teammate. But even between the two, he was way better in the braking zones. And right now, Wyatt Roberts once again just gonna have to settle for bridesmaid, I think. But like we were talking about, though, definitely a good showing for him. Maximized given the circumstances, like you mentioned, Christian, right? Had the 25 and 27 not pulled up to the event today, Wyatt Roberts is likely driving away with a win and definitely doing a really good job in the chase standings coming out of here. But I think you gotta look forward with this kind of a finish, assuming Wyatt Roberts finishes where he's at. But right now, this 3rd place position definitely heating up. One of these guys is going to be talking with us in the booth, and so it's going to come down to who wants to be up here in the HGTV podium interview booth or not. So
yeah, if you're Bryson, it's kind of a delicate thing, right? Because do you want the spot or do you want the insurance of having a good finish, right? Do you just let the 31 go when he gets to you, or do you fight him here for the position? You fight him for that 1 point, right? Because once again, if you lose the spot to the 31, not only do you lose the spot to the 42, who's a spot ahead of you, you also lose a point to Jake Scarborough, who's right behind you. And if you give up that time, right, Jake could potentially put the pressure back on you with 4 to go.
Joseph Smith is much better in that bus stop the lap before. Bryson Byrd almost spun coming into the bus stop, so he is watching that mirror coming from the number 31. So a little bit outside is a little bit open on right here in 6. You gotta get a capitalize on the 37. Joseph Smith is gonna get a little bit loose coming out of 7, so he's gonna keep the position for Bryson. So he needs to not make any mistakes. It's still 3 to go. It's still a long race right here into the turn 1.
Ooh.
Joseph cuts the run right here.
You have to lift though. Can go side by side in the S's.
He gets a good run onto the bus stop. Bus stop has been much better for Joseph Smith than Bryson Byrd. So Bryson, yeah, it's a little bit loose right here. He's losing control of his tires, so it's gonna be bad for him.
I think the 31's better. He's just trying to be a little bit cordial. I think he knows that the 53 has a lot more to lose. Wants to try to get him around the good way, right? Doesn't want to put the bumper to him quite yet. And if he does, he's probably going to do it in the last couple laps here to ensure that, the 53 isn't probably going to lose any more spots, right? But I think the 31, he's a little bit quicker. Just cannot find a way around Bryson Byrd quite yet.
If you're Bryson, you don't need to go and hit it like... if you have a car that is faster than you, of course, the defense is the first option. But if the car behind you doesn't have anything to lose and he doesn't care what are you fighting for, if you're fighting for the championship, he doesn't care. He just wants to get a better position for his race. So if Joseph Smith put the bumper onto Bryson, he will not care. And Bryson might not lose 1 but 2 positions. So, of course, first option is gonna be defense, but if Joseph Smith right here is gonna be much faster coming into the bus stop, it's gonna be right there.
Wow.
And a huge block. I think that Bryson's struggling bad because 31 trying to be cordial. He hasn't tried to make the move, but the 77 is running these two back down, right? And really the 31's basing his pace off of Bryson, right? And Jake has been able to, tighten the straps one more time, and he's reeled these guys back in here. He's got a good 3 or 4 car length gap back, but I mean, what do you do for the 31? I mean, you try not. He's made it very clear now. He's trying to be cordial and not try to do anything dirty to get around the 53 here. But he's in contention to lose a spot here now. Like, this is where you have to go here as we get the white flag.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm thinking right now it gets go time if you're that 31 car. But I wouldn't forget about. Oh,
that's the
what
50.
In the world? Oh my gosh, he's off the track.
Made contact with Bryson
He's gonna miss
Byrd.
the corner. He's gonna miss the corner big time. That 77 car is gonna be hunting for a spot here too.
There has to be something off the track that we did not see, because that's the second time we've seen
the 50.
That 50 has deliberately interfered with
unbelievable.
the 53 machine. Like, I mean, I'm going to talk to Jake after the broadcast about that, because obviously he probably saw it right there, honestly, but you cannot be doing that to a playoff car. That's the second time he's gone out of his way to make contact, forcible contact, put the 53 in harm's way there. I think right now you saw the 31 give back up the spot. I think he knows that there's something intriguing going on here, but I'm going to have to go back up here. For the final corner, Matthew Wyatt. Spin on the lap 1. Doesn't matter. He's going to take it here from Watkins Glen, his first win of the season in season 20. Bryson Byrd will come home P2, and then the battle's on. Jake Scarborough going to move to 31.
Oh, man.
And Jake Scarborough's going to steal P4.
Wow, what a run to the line there. Did not give up after that spin in the carousel. That's a really good run from him. Wow. Yeah, a lot of great finishes here in the top 10. But yeah, definitely.
We didn't talk about this driver at all, but remember, this guy was in contention to win the championship last year. Noah Brown, he sneaks into a P6. I don't think we talked about him at all this race here. He comes home P6.
Last year champion, pretty much coming here and grab a top 10 on his comeback.
Yeah. Last season's champion. It's just one off here. Remember, he said he wasn't going to be coming back full time. That's coming here for Watkins Glen. He just sneaks into a top 10 finish. But here comes 25, a little bit of a SVG-inspired celebration here. He's starting to drift this thing around for his outlap here. But what a win for Matthew, right? Was close last week at Milwaukee. Actually, didn't he win in Milwaukee last week? Did he not?
Yes.
So yeah, back to back here for this 25 machine. He's showing up and he's showing out here.
Pretty much the class of the field with the number 27 of Cole Wilson. Of course, Cole Wilson having that little mistake coming out of the carousel, he decided to go ahead like take his car and go back home. But his teammate Matthew Wyatt, coming from that spin on turn for the first lap into the pit stop, pretty much taking the win here in Watkins Glen. Congratulations for the 25 team.
Yeah, really good run for him. I mean, just the class of the field without a doubt. And I mean, yeah, it was pretty much him in the 27 for the start of the race, and then just continued out. And after the pit cycles, he just got by Wyatt Roberts and never looked back after that. So I mean, that card was definitely gripped up today. And I mean, Matthew Wyatt definitely one hell of a road course driver here at Watkins Glen.
I couldn't have said it better myself. We're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. We didn't get an opportunity to. This whole broadcast tonight the action was just too good to take you guys off the action here. So we're going to take a quick commercial break and start your post-race show here from the Glen.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
As we welcome you back to Watkins Glen International here for the post-race show for the AWC Pro Series Week 15. As we approach the end of the chase here, but we just saw a barn burner of a finish here as Matthew Wyatt takes it here tonight from Watkins Glen. Let's go ahead and pull up the driver of the 25 up here in the HVTV booth. Matthew Wyatt, it's Christian, Matthew, and Diego up here in the HVTV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Well, first of all, back-to-back wins here in these last couple starts for you in this whole 25 team. So first of all, congratulations on your win here at Watkins Glen and at Milwaukee last week. Milwaukee too, obviously we saw an intense battle between you and your teammate. Really for that middle part of the run there, you and Cole, just not willing to give up the race lead there. But obviously we saw Cole make that mistake. Unfortunately, parked the car early. But after that, it was kind of the Matthew show here from All Out. Just walk us through your race tonight. Walk us through what was the difference to get you back up here in the victory lane.
Yeah, so let's go back to lap one. I tried to pass Cole into the bus stop, and I forgot that the brakes are still cold, so I completely lost it. Spun out in front of the field. I fell back to like 14th, and Cole was really fast. I think he was probably faster than me. We were close, but I thought it was going to be a challenge to get all the way back to him, if especially with 14 cars between me and him. I got all the way up to second pretty fast, which I was happy with. And then I see Cole like 4-ish seconds ahead. So um, I think I got lucky with him in lap cars. I think he caught a couple in the bus stop. I got lucky, caught him on the straightaway. So and then from there for probably 10 to 15-ish laps, we were battling between me, him, Wyatt Roberts, and Jake were in there. So a lot of cars were battling. I saw Wyatt pit early because we were second like that. So me and Cole decided, because obviously we're teammates, we have the same paint scheme, but we decided we had to pit. We were going to lose too much time. Unfortunately, I think Cole spun out like the lap we were going to come. So I came down. I think it was like a second behind Wyatt, and then quickly got past him, and then kind of was smooth sailing from there on out.
Walk us through Watkins Glen here. Obviously, you've come to have a good liking here for these cars here. Obviously, you were really dominant at Milwaukee. Come to Watkins Glen, you in the 27. You know, dominated this race for the most part of this race. What is the differences between this O'Reilly car and what makes it a little bit easier for you to come out here and race well here in the AWC Pro Series?
Yeah, so I'm actually in another league that races the Gen 4, and in this league they increase the power. That's a new thing that iRacing's implemented. They increase the power of this car to, I think it's like, I don't know the exact number, but I know it's 10% higher than whatever the default is. So your rears are spinning about the whole race. So with the Gen 4, I've kind of gotten used to having to save the right rear. So it was the same thing with this car. Same thing about Milwaukee as well. The right rear is just crucial that you have underneath you. So I think most of that is helpful for me that I'm able to keep the right rear on it. I was when I was passing cars after I spun out early, I could tell that a lot of them have burned the right rear off. So you can kind of tell when people do that, and if you have a right rear, you can kind of just put your car wherever you want compared to everyone else, and you can kind of do whatever you want and just fly past them. So it definitely helps out when you have a right rear on your car.
Well, you definitely did a good job managing that right rear, keeping the gap content there. Obviously, a 7.5 second gap back to the P2 driver. Very big gap and a good accomplishment for you and this whole 25 team. So once again, congratulations not only for Watkins Glen but back to back here as you took it home in victory lane from Milwaukee. But before we let you go, Matthew, anybody you want to thank, appreciate, shout out for tonight's win here from the Glen?
Yeah, thanks to CWR, Cameron Chandler, Cole Wilson for racing nice, everyone in the broadcast booth that puts these on, the league owners, the everyone else in the league racing pretty clean for the most part. So, yeah, I just want to thank all those people.
Well, we definitely appreciate the kind words up here in the booth, and wish you good luck here if you continue to, you know, uh, continue to join us here in these last couple of weeks here as we end the season of 20.
Yeah, thank you.
Matthew White dominates here from Watkins Glen. I think we have a Matthew down here with Wyatt Roberts up here in the booth.
Hey, Wyatt Roberts, it's Matthew, Christian, and Diego up in the booth. You got us?
Yes, I do.
Well, man, I just want to start by saying it was an amazing race watching you throughout the entirety of this event here today. It was an awesome time seeing you battle up towards the front of the field, and you got a lot to be proud of after this finish here. Second place once again. We love interviewing you up in the booth. Let's start by just talking about the start of this event. We had a few spins towards the front of the field. What was your immediate reaction to just the kind of the chaos which was the entire first half of this event?
Yeah, started fifth, which I was in the mix, but got a pass right off the start. Had a spin in the bus stop, got another pass. So two passes right at the beginning was great, and made it 3 wide, but it just wasn't enough to get the lead early. But it was pretty crazy. Had an incident right in front of me, which I closely avoided, and then I was kind of sitting in third. The 25 and the 27 were battling hard. Super good battle before the pit stops. Pitted a little bit early, trying to make up time, which I got the lead for a little bit, um, but yeah, came out, finished second, and was basically second for the most of the second part of the run.
Yeah, there was definitely the tale of two stories here, I think, with, drivers at the beginning of the race up to that pit window, and then from the pit window onward. And yeah, you definitely were battling it out there, and took the lead after all that chaos with the 25, 27. And yeah, I mean, there was definitely a lot to talk about from our point of view. But did you think that after you came out of the pit set, the Haichu car was going to get back to you? Or did you think that you had a shot on those tires and the clean track on that outlap that you had pitting first?
I was hoping I had a shot, but the 25, I believe, when he was by himself, he was just so fast. I was like really hoping that the 27 stayed with him and they kept battling the whole time, and that was my way to get around him. But 27 got in an incident on the fresh tires, on the cold tires, so that left the 25 just with clean air, and he could push as hard as he wanted. So if they stayed battling and they kept battling even in second, I think I could have a chance. But it was going to be hard to defend. I mean, at least I stayed in the lead long enough to get the lap lead bonus point.
Yeah, no, definitely a positive there. And yeah, talk to us a little bit about those cold tires. Christian mentioned it in the booth, but iRacing obviously making these cold tires really, really cold, and really got to get a lot of heat in them to start putting down some lap times. Did you notice that there was a big difference here at Watkins Glen? And were there any corners in particular that you noticed that you were really losing the rear and struggling to get the power down on corner exit?
I don't find them as bad as some of the other cars on iRacing, but yeah, you definitely notice it, especially for the first lap. I mean, fresh out of pit road, trying to go up the S's, it's always tricky. But also, getting it slowed down for the bus stop. Carousel's a super long turn, so you really feel it there. But yeah, it usually takes about a lap or two to get the full pace out of the car, and then after 10 laps, you get the worn tires. So really, it's like lap 2 to 5 where you got your fastest car.
Well, it was definitely very entertaining watching you up in the booth, like I said earlier. But before we let you go here, want to give you an opportunity to shout out anybody that you'd like to right now. So I'll give you an opportunity to do that right now.
I mean, as always, shout out to my dad who watches all my broadcast races. Shout out to Circumference Ultimate Motorsports. We had Bryson Byrd. He finished third today. I'm trying to gain on him in the points, but it's a friendly battle. As long as one of us can get the AWC championship, that'd be awesome. Also had Brett Bennett, but unfortunately he got in an incident early. And lastly, shout out to my endurance team, Fast Cactus Racing. We're going to be racing the Majors 24 this weekend, so hopefully we do good.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff to look forward to for sure as we look forward to Daytona next week. So obviously, really good showing out here in Watkins Glen, and we wish you luck moving forward.
Yeah, thank you.
Wyatt Roberts, your P2 driver, and I believe we have Andres back here with your third place finisher, Bryson Byrd, coming out of the points lead.
Bryson Byrd is Diego Acuna with Matthew Perchaski and Chrissy DeGale on top of the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got y'all.
All right, so P3, after starting 10th, you got a little bit of a scuffle over there with a lap car. So talk to us. What happened?
I don't know. Was he doing that to other people? Because I know the first time I lapped him, he doored me 3 times before I cleared him, and then that happened. So I don't know what I did to make him upset. But I mean, yeah, did he do that to anybody else?
It's unknown, but yeah, we saw that on the like pretty much into the cameras. So that's why we asked because I'm pretty sure I don't know if he was doing it for everybody else. Hopefully not, but yeah, that was very questionable coming from a lap car trying to go here take out pretty much a contender as well as the points leader. So that's why if anything happened before that.
Yeah, it's weird because I don't recall running into him. I mean, he's so slow, I don't ever see him. So I don't know. Hopefully he'll get banned next week. That's all I can hope.
Well, after coming from 10th position, of course, you were pretty much passing car by car, especially with Watkins Glen being one of the biggest one of the biggest wild card other than Daytona coming next week. So talk to us what do you do pretty much as a strategy as well as coming with the focus after what happened in Milwaukee.
I just had to regroup. I was very upset last week. Felt like I kind of got robbed there. But it was good to come here and get third. I think I still lost points to Wyatt. It's probably going to be like, I don't know, maybe like a 4 or 5 point gap. So going into Daytona, just, I don't know. I'm not going to go into Daytona scared. I'm going to go up there and try to lead every lap and just see what happens.
Talking about Daytona, any strategy that you have, like especially with it's gonna be a big group coming in, of course coming with the big one, of course with the drafting.
Yeah, just going to have to try to keep it clean and stay out of the crashes. That's going to be the main thing, and execute the green flag stops, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, so of course, congratulations with the P3. Any shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, shout out to all my teammates. Shout out to Joseph Smith. Shout out to Alex, who made my awesome paint scheme for tonight. And shout out to you guys for always putting on a good show in the booth.
Thank you so much. Have a good one and see you next week.
All right, see ya.
Yeah, Bryson Byrd comes home P3, and yeah, it'll be interesting to look at. I already got asked by Jake to send him the replay for tonight's race, and yeah, I didn't really want to speak up on that interview, but I didn't really see anybody else get into a scuffle with that 50 outside of the 53, so it was very strange to see. We saw it there twice. Once out of the carousel, and then once out of turn going down the front stretch there. That 50 doing the 50 getting scuffled together there. It was definitely odd to see there, but still Bryson holds on to that P3 position.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask because you don't know the backstory. If it was like premeditate, yeah, like that's very confusing. And of course, like if you see it like right there, of course you need to see if there's any backstories. But it leaves me more confused than anything. So yeah,
I want to go back and take a look here at this move here for P4. Yeah, 77.
Clean. Yeah,
just a little bit of a right rear.
Oh, a little traded pace right there.
And Jay gets it there for P4. I mean, that's gonna be a big points gap right there. I mean, obviously he's gonna lose a little bit of points to the Bird though, but
it's nothing that much. Yeah.
Still within striking distance for sure. So a good finish for the 77 of Jake. Obviously, the boss man up here in the AWC Pro Series. So good to see him have a good finish here. Good to see him. He'll definitely secure that P3 position in points.
Yeah, and I would say.
Oh yeah, sure. Go ahead.
No, yeah, you can go.
Yeah, honestly, after hearing all these guys' interviews, a lot of really good days out of all these guys in the top three. But let's not take away from a lot of the guys further back in the field. I mean, obviously we mentioned Noah Brown earlier, right, Christian? Joseph Smith, he was in contention a lot today. Put on a good show towards the end with Jake Scarborough, who got that 4th place spot. I know we'll run through the rest of the finishing order, but also just wanted to give a shout out to Luis Ramirez. Didn't mention him in the broadcast. Vic Bloom with a nice top 15 as well. So, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of these guys today was kind of an exception, right? We had quite an exceptional battle towards the front of the field and towards the upper half for the majority of the race. So a lot more to talk about it with that regard. But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of good days for some guys that I think really needs some good finishes. But also just going back to the interviews, right? Wyatt Roberts mentioning that, that point deficit from him and Bryson Byrd, didn't maximize in the best way possible today. But it also just goes to show that Bryson Byrd is just undeniably fast, right? And like no matter where we go, so you can't really feel bad about it, and especially because they're teammates, right? It's like you mentioned, as long as one of them is in contention towards the end for the championship, that's all that really matters. But it all just goes to show that Bryson Byrd is always going to be there no matter what, and he's kind of inevitable in a way. So, if I'm Wyatt Roberts, I can't feel too bad about this finish.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was definitely a good. I love to see it when we talked to Wyatt about. Um, he said like, hey, it's a friendly battle, right? All we want is one of these two guys to get it done, and we don't have any malice towards each other. Whoever can get it done can get it done, and we're gonna be happy with it, right? And I really love to see that.
but that's racing, to be honest. Like, you can have your teammates, you can have your team, but in my opinion, these guys are racers, and you want the best for yourself. You want your best for your team, for your team, for your number. So of course, like, you can be having like that battle with the championship between Wyatt Roberts and Bryson Byrd, but who knows? Who knows in the next week, Bryson Byrd and Wyatt Roberts gets involved into a big wreck in the start of the race, and Jake Scarborough takes opportunity. So of course, like, you can be a teammate, but in the same way, you need to be selfish, especially in racing, because you don't know if it's your time to go ahead and shine. Uh, but if you're like uh thinking that, okay, like, if it wasn't my race, I'm gonna at least my teammate is gonna be able to, yeah, you can be that teammate prospect, that teammate right there to be there for the team, but you need to take to yourself, and this is racing. So of course that Wyatt Roberts, what needs to think now, of course, he needs to focus on getting the most points he can do on Daytona, because a big one can change everything on that racetrack. So Daytona doesn't forgive.
No, I definitely agree. Daytona is going to be the big wild card going into next week, seeing, you know, what what happens, right? Because it could flip everything upside down, right? You could see, Enrique, who I presume is going to show up next week, right? I think he still wants a shot at it. You could see the top four get swept up in one big one, right? No fast pairs here in the Pro Series. You can see everybody, get caught up in one, and you could see someone like Enrique come in there, take advantage, at least make up a significant amount of points. And I expect to see, a lot of drivers show up. Seeing 25 drivers show up to Watkins Glen, I'm just really excited to see how much we're going to get for a super speedway, which is undoubtedly, some of our most popular car track combos we see in the AWC Pro Series.
Yeah, and especially thinking back to, the season opener, right? And how entertaining that was. Daytona is obviously one of those places that, like, there's a different vibe when it's the kickstart to the season for any, racing league. But when you return and, you think about all the energy surrounding, Daytona with the playoffs in previous years, right? And we'll see it again with the Chase, but, just the energy surrounding, the week leading up to Daytona and returning there for the second time. It's a very cool atmosphere to build up to. And so, likewise, I think we're going to all be looking forward to Daytona here in the AWC Pro Series.
No,
And pretty much coming with Daytona, after that is gonna be Vegas. So season finale right away. So yeah, so think that Milwaukee, like a racetrack that almost nobody had. We had almost like a 30 cars field. For Indianapolis, we had like a 31, 32 cars in the field. So for sure for Daytona, I'm pretty sure we're gonna have like a 35, almost 40 cars in the field. So for sure for these chase drivers, what they need is to capitalize that race for points, because that big one, that not a big one, a little mistake on pit road, a little bump is gonna pretty much end your race and end your season. So for Wyatt Roberts, Bryson Byrd, for Jake Scarborough, for Kugalan, for all the chasers, you can have like a wreck for the top four guys, and we can have a Carlos Acosta win. So that's how serious it's gonna be next week, coming to Vegas.
no, I definitely agree. And I talked about it, in the pre-race going into Daytona, right? You could have, someone, I think, honestly, if you're 40 points back going to Daytona, you have a shot. at a miracle at getting a championship, right? Going to Daytona, if the big five, the big six get caught up in a wreck, they have to park their cars, and it allows someone like a Acosta, someone like a Ryan Ronnebaum, someone like, I don't know, looking back here,
Brad Bennett,
like a Brett Bennett,
who wrecked. Yeah.
like a Gilberto, right? Who if they can get and win a race and hope that the big kind of five guys get caught up there, I mean, he'll have a shot. I think, the guys up front will also need to have a bad race at Vegas, right? Which I don't see that happening, but it's still, there's not a set champion in any way, shape, or form set here coming out of Watkins Glen.
Yeah, and I mean, at the same time, though, the opposite end of the spectrum is knowing that Bryson Byrd was able to get it done at Talladega, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, we know that a lot of those guys are also going to have speed. Wyatt Roberts at Daytona once more, and so it's not going to be a cakewalk for those guys that are going to have a better chance at the super speedway. But everyone's going to be doing their best, right? And that's what I like about it, is that it's different than the season opener, when there's not as many implications as the second time around, when we got all the championship standings to think about, and we got people who have developed their storylines throughout the entirety of the season so far, and especially considering, like Diego mentioned, how close it is to the championship race, right? All of that is just adding to the storylines, and there's gonna be a lot to follow for sure next week.
No, I definitely agree. It's going to be big. I mean, Daytona's going to be a big race, obviously, the penultimate race of season 20, but we got to get there first. So let's go ahead and take a look at our unofficial race results for tonight's race here from Watkins Glen. Race number 15 of 18 here in season 20. We talked to your top three finishers: Matthew C. White, Wyatt Roberts, Bryson Byrd, another podium for him. But Jake Scarborough, another good finisher. He's really turned on the heat late this postseason here to keep the pressure on these top four guys to keep putting good finishes together, because if not, Jake is going to be there to pounce. Joseph Smith, a really good recovery back to P5. Noah Brown, like I said, and Matthew brought it up, a lot of these guys here further up outside the top five, we didn't get to talk about a whole lot, but Noah Brown, last season's champion, he comes up here with the one-off. He's going to get a P6 finish. Adam Tal back there in P7, a really good finish for him. Fidel back there in 8th. Luis Ramirez back there in 9th, a good finish for him. And Gilberto Camara round out your top 10.
Yeah, really solid top 10, especially for those guys that we don't have always running full-time here, but we look through 11th through 20th. Carlos Acosta so close to that top 10, coming back from way outside the top 20. Vic Bloom in the 49 car coming home 12th. Sam Boutwell, 47 car, 13th. Joshua Nunez, didn't talk about him too much. Nice top 15 for him. Tim Goulet Jr. rounding out that top 15, 3 laps down. Preston Alexander in the 50 car, obviously some shenanigans later on in the race, but Shane O'Neill in that 91 car coming home 17th, obviously out of the race from here on back. But we have Cole J. Wilson also with that contact later on in the race. That damage was terminal for him. Ty McIntosh, he was further up in the pack as well, and then after that scuffle towards the front of the pack in the first half of the event, just it was terminal damage for him as well. So and then rounding out that top 20, Jacob B. Davis in that 5 car.
A very big hit right here on 21st through 25th. So Brendan Reed, Ryan Ronnebaum are going to be your 21st and 22nd. They were pretty much out on the start of the race. Not like Crane, who came into the race. He's going to finish in 23rd. And Brett Bennett pretty much out at the first turn of the race, of the first lap. Pretty much finishing 24th. Of course, it's going to be a bad day for his points, as well as Joe Farlow, of course, not able to pretty much race for any position. So, yeah, pretty big hit for these guys, but you still have at least one chance. But for these guys, possibly it's just a Hail Mary into Daytona.
I definitely agree. They need a Hail Mary and a Hail Mary really for both races to get themselves in contention. But we got to get to Daytona next week, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Is obviously Daytona, the World Center of Racing, the most exciting racing we see, in any series comes there from Daytona for the most part. Obviously a really good battle up here towards the front, as we saw, Matthew White. and his teammate in the 27, Cole Wilson, put on a show for us at home, and it was a lot of fun to call up here in the HVTV booth. But I think, for now, it's time to call the night here from Watkins Glen up here in northern New York. But once again, from everybody up here in the HVTV booth up here, myself, Christian Delgado, alongside Matthew Perchatsky, Diego Acuna. We all appreciate everybody for coming out and watching the broadcast tonight here for Week 15 of the AWC Pro Series. If you wouldn't mind dropping a like on the broadcast, sharing the broadcast with friends and family, whether you're watching over on the High Velocity TV YouTube channel or over at twitch.tv/ChristianBoss13. We do appreciate the follows over there on the Twitch side of things. But from everybody over here on the channel, we hope everybody has a great rest of their Friday, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week from the World Center of Racing.